welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Chanel and I'm a new mom to a 7-month-old baby girl. So chances are if you clicked onto today's video, you are pregnant or you're just curious about my postpartum experience, which is totally fine as well. I don't know about you guys, but when I was pregnant, I was more nervous about postpartum care and the aftermath of pushing out a child than the actual act of giving birth, mostly because I knew I was getting an epidural, so I knew it wouldn't hurt that badly. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But if you're like me and you're nervous about postpartum care, then this is definitely the video for you, because I'm going to be talking all about my postpartum experience and everything that happened to me, and hopefully that'll help ease your mind a little bit and help you prepare for the miracle that is birth. Okay, so first of all, I'm just gonna talk about what I did to prepare my body for the actual birth. So when I was about like 7 to 8 months pregnant, I started drinking red raspberry leaf tea 3 times a day. This is the one that I would use. And I drank that 3 times a day because I read, I think it was Pinterest, I'll try to link the article below. I read that drinking red raspberry leaf tea can help in your labor because it strengthens your uterus. The reason why I'm putting this in my postpartum video is because I actually think that it worked for me. After you give birth, the nurses push on your uterus to see if it's shrinking back, and the nurses pushed on mine and were shocked of how fast it shrunk. I think that the red raspberry leaf tea did its job in that sense. Little Miss woke up early from her nap, so I got her right here, and I'm just gonna keep talking, so I hope that doesn't distract you guys too much. Let me just tell you that it's totally normal to tear. It's painful, but it's also not as painful as I thought. So hopefully that helps ease your mind a little bit, because I only got 2 small tears on the labia, I believe. I believe my doctor told me it was 2 superficial tears, so they weren't anything serious. Another lovely result I got from pushing my daughter out was I got hemorrhoids. I feel like not enough people talk about hemorrhoids, because when I found out that I got them, I mean, it made sense, but I never really heard of other people getting it that often, so I was honestly shocked. But I think it's more common than you think. It's definitely uncomfortable, and it added a lot of extra pain to my down there area when I was going to the washroom or even sitting down or standing or anything really. Definitely keep that in mind, that it could be a possibility of developing hemorrhoids. Hopefully not, but it's a possibility. So because of everything that was going on down in my lady bits, it was really scary and painful to go to the washroom. The hospital does give you stool softeners and ibuprofen, which was really helpful, but I found that I actually needed my own stool softeners for when I got home, just because the first poo is traumatizing. I'm sorry, I'm just putting a warning out there. I'm not trying to scare anyone. It's scary. I was so nervous about going to the washroom that I'm pretty sure I held it in, and that's not good either. So definitely get your own stool softeners for when you get home, and keep taking them until you think that things are better down there, because that's what I did, and I'm glad I did that because I had hemorrhoids and tears. I didn't want to use any muscles in that area and strain anything or pull anything. I also really recommend picking up a Freedom Mom Carry bottle. I will link everything I talk about down below to help you guys out. This is a lot nicer than the ones they give you at the hospital, just because you can angle it down and spray at the area. I filled it up with like warm water, but not too hot, because it just felt a lot nicer than like cold water. You know, that can be a little bit shocking, just spraying your bits with ice water. So definitely use some warm water, and when you go pee, it can sting a lot. So this was helpful to like spray while you peed. I don't know, it just made the whole process a lot less painful. So definitely recommend getting one of these. And some other products that I recommend when going to the washroom are the Tux pads. I'm sure you've heard about these. They were super nice because I think they're originally for hemorrhoids. They were super nice to use. I kept mine in the fridge to keep them extra cool, so that when I was going to the washroom, I could just take it with me from the fridge and put it on my giant puff pad and just have it nice and cooling. And it felt like a little ice pack for the yoni. definitely get yourself some tuck pads. They're really handy. I don't have any more of the medicated spray that I used for my vagina during that time because I used it all up. But I use the Earth Mama Perennial Spray. It looks like this. And I use that one because it's more natural and I found that it worked really well. There's one by Dermoplast, I believe, but it's just not natural, and I personally like using more natural products when I can, so I recommend this one. All right, so let's talk about the bleeding. Yeah. I bled for like 5 weeks straight, which felt like a really long time. I don't know if that's normal or not. For some reason, when I was pregnant, I figured, oh, well, I'll probably bleed for like 2-3 weeks tops, whatever. But I bled for 5 weeks and it was heavy bleeding. So I didn't buy the always like Depends diaper thingies that a lot of people do recommend during pregnancy, so I can't speak on that. But I did buy some like dark colored granny panties that I just wouldn't care if they got messed up or ruined. And I bought these giant pads, and honestly I never had a problem with leaking or anything like that, so that's what I can recommend. The ones that I bought were by the brand Tenna, which I believe is a Depends brand. These giant pads were fine for me. I definitely recommend when you're at the hospital trying to get as many of the hospital pads and the hospital mesh underwear as you can. Those things are so comfortable, and all you want to be is comfortable during this postpartum period. So I'd say that I used these Tenna pads for about 2 weeks, and then I graduated to some thinner pads. This is just like always cotton, like more natural type of pad, and they're pretty thin. They look like this. So yeah, I used these for like the other 2 weeks, and then eventually just liners, and then eventually nothing, which was very nice when you stop bleeding. As I said, everybody is different, so you might bleed for longer than I did, or you might bleed for less than I did, but either way, just prepare yourself with a bunch of pads and liners to prepare for the biggest ant flow of your life. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was breastfeeding and that whole debacle. If you're a new mom, breastfeeding can be extremely hard, and I'll link in the cards up here, but I actually made a video all about my personal breastfeeding experience, so if you want, check that out. Breastfeeding can be super tough, and I recommend definitely getting the lactation consultant or the nurses to come in and ask as many questions as possible. Really try to get the hang of it while you're in the hospital and have the help, because when you get home, you're alone, and it'll be nice to have the tips from your nurse, doctor, or whoever. I didn't do that so much because I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to ask for help and gets embarrassed sometimes, so don't be like me and ask for as much help as possible because you might need it. And hopefully it just comes naturally to you, but if it doesn't, just know that it's totally normal, and if you need help, ask for it. Anyways though, when you're breastfeeding and learning to breastfeed, your nipples can get so chapped and so sore because if you don't have a proper latch, it can feel like really sharp pain on your nipples. So I have the Earth Mama Organic Nipple Butter. I really recommend this stuff. Mine is like almost completely empty. I'll show you. Yeah, so if you can even see. Anyways, I would like put a bunch of that stuff on my nipples, and no matter how chapped they were, after a few hours they would feel better. I also use this, I don't know if this is normal, but I'm gonna tell you what I did with pumping, because I pump and it actually helped me a lot. Is I would take the nipple butter and rub it on the inside of the flange, and it would help my nipple not rub on the flange, and it just felt a lot more comfortable. So there's a little hack for you guys. The nursing bras that I use, I actually completely love. I'm currently not breastfeeding anymore, and I still wear these granny bras, but they're so comfortable. I highly recommend this one especially. I'll link it in the down bar. It comes with like pads that are removable. I always remove them, but I kept one in one side to show you what it looks like. And then they just like click off and expose your boobie to feed the baby. And then you can click it back on, and then it has like this little part on the inside that you can slide breast pad into, which is super convenient, and you'll definitely need some breast pads as well, because when your milk comes in, girl, you're leaking everywhere and you don't want to have stains on all your shirts. I'm just telling you. So the nursing pads that I used are these Lancino ones. I don't really have a preference. It's just pads that catch your extra milk. Honestly, these are super wasteful. They single wrap each boob, so if you can find some reusable pads, I would recommend them more. I didn't breastfeed for that long, so I still have a whole box of them, and I'm planning on using them for my next baby, so I'm just gonna keep them for a while, but I definitely recommend getting reusable ones because they're a bit more eco-friendly. Another thing about your body after birth is your ab muscles are completely separated, and it takes a while for your muscles to kind of go back together. So I got one of these postpartum belt things, and I wore it for like the first 3 months of postpartum because it really helped me feel secure, because after you give birth you can feel a little like loosey-goosey in your belly area, and it just, everything feels weird, and those help to kind of bring your organs back into place and get your abs back together, and I actually think it worked well for me. I wore it straight in the hospital for like 3 months, and it felt great, honestly, and it felt like I had more ab control and ab support. So I recommend getting one of those postpartum belts as well. Whenever I'm really uncomfortable or sore, I personally really love taking baths, but I heard from someone that taking baths postpartum is really bad. So I ended up asking my midwife about that because I just personally love taking baths. I find them relaxing and healing. So I asked my midwife about that, and she actually said that it's really good to take baths and to take salt baths. So I used up a lot of these. I bought some like Himalayan pink Epsom salts from Whole Foods to use in my bath, and she said that the bath or the salt baths can help heal your stitches and everything down there. Just make sure your tub is clean, obviously. And if you're a C-section mom, ask your doctor, because I think it can be a little bit different. But I was so excited when she said that I could take baths, so I thought I would share that because I honestly love that, and I do think that it helps heal my stitches pretty well. If you're currently pregnant, I wanted to say congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck. Although everything was super painful and it was a process to get through, this little girl is worth the whole thing. So I'm so excited for you, and I wish you the best of luck in your new motherhood journey. Okay, so I believe that's everything that I wanted to mention. If you found this information helpful in any way, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content from me. Anyways, I really hope that I see you in the next one. Bye, guys.